Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast, your weekly gaming podcast, episode 76, Games You Hated, Yet Still Completed. With me, George, and as always joined by Bobby. Dark Souls to my Nomad Soul. How's it going?
Good.
You like that?
Yeah, it was good.
Let's before we get we need to sort of clear a couple of things up. So before we do that, we'll give people a quick rundown. So coming up this week, we've got some Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox news. No PC or retro gaming news, but don't detune PC and retro gamers because I'm sure there'll be something in there for you eventually. We've got the feature, which is the obvious games you hated yet still completed. We're then going to have a little look through your pickups on Instagram, hashtag Stingrays Boot, where we see what you've picked up this week in gaming. So your new games, old games, T-shirts, pictures of your dog. Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. But we do care. So, I just don't care what it is. Mm-hmm. And then the real deal jets up 5th and Main, pops his boot. Me and Bobby pick out the new release highlights for this week, and we pull out a VHS of our choosing. And then the show ends when I ask Bobby what he's hoping to play. But before I ask him the immortal question, so odd as you've got to grip that wheel, I've got a question, Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
We're recording this early doors. We're in New York, you and I, and I want takeout for breakfast. Now, I like my toast on one side. I don't take coffee, I take tea, my dear. But what takeout can we order now through the medium of Just Eat or Deliveroo or whatever it is here in the States? Uber Eats. What can we order for breakfast? Because I want like pancakes, I want syrup, I want coffee. Where can we go? Where can we get that delivered in the local area to our door for it so it's ready for when we finish recording?
Okay, it's going to be weird to you, but I don't think anyone does that here. You know why?
Why?
Because by the time you get the eggs or the pancakes, they're just so soggy. You're better off just making it here.
Could we get donuts and coffee delivered?
Yeah, you can, but from where Dunkin' Donuts?
Where else could we get them from?
There's a Colombian coffee spot. They don't have donuts, but they have it's called Benuelos, which is basically like a cheesy bowl. It's made in to a small bowl, and it's like a cheesy bread, and that's delicious. And they have something else too. I can't pronounce it.
The thing is, I'm a booger. I want some sweet.
No, it's sweet, bro. It's a nice bread. It's not like a typical bread. It's like the Mexican bread. I can't think of the name right now.
But I want this thing. Bread. But I want this thing to give me diabetes.
Oh, okay. Then we're gonna have to. No, let's not get diabetes from that. No, my experience with
Dave,
delivering breakfast is just not good.
So where we're going to go means I'm going to have to get dressed because right now you've managed to get dressed this morning.
No, listen.
I'm sat in my pants.
Listen, we could put on our Adidas tracksuit, okay, and we'll just go right up the block to the diner because the diner is the cheapest thing you're going to do.
What's this diner called?
It's called Mini Star Diner.
Mini Star Diner. You've not taken me there yet. Trestles was amazing.
Yeah,
but the Mini Star Diner I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, listen, for a diner, as basic as it is, it's exactly what you want. You want eggs? Boom. Pancakes? Boom. Right? Perfect. You want a little hamburger there? I guess if you wanted to, you could. I wouldn't, but you could. It's still good. It's just the, basic thing you need in the morning.
Is it constant top-ups on the black coffee?
Yeah, 100%. Every diner's like that here.
And I don't want what I guess.
Bro, they make tea. They're not just going to give you a tea, bro. They'll give you a little kettle.
No, I don't want any of that. I'm trying to forget I was ever English.
Oh, okay. Well, they do coffee there.
Okay, coffee.
You got the regular coffee, or you have the...
You're not saying it right. Unless coffee. You sound like Janine on Ghostbusters. You're not trying hard enough to be from New York, Bobby.
That's how I always said it, coffee. Coffee. Yeah, coffee.
You got to spell it CWAFEE.
100%.
Coffee.
I can't. People like coffee. Bro, what? Oh, let me tell you a story before we. Okay, let me tell you how bad my pronunciations are, okay? My mom is from Brooklyn. My father's from the Bronx. Two heavy accents in my house. So they say things totally different sometimes. And third grade, I spelled the word dinosaur wrong. Okay? About, I don't know, maybe 6, 7 years ago, my little sister found my third grade spelling test and she asked me to spell dinosaur again. I spelled it the same way I did in third grade.
How did you spell that?
I'm pronouncing it dinosaur. Dinosaur. It's dinosaur.
It is dinosaur.
But I'm like dinosaur. That's how I say it. So I'm like DINA. Dinosaur. Listen, that's how I pronounced it, bro. You know? Like, people get mad at me all the time. They're like, you can't pronounce anything. Like, monster, like the creature.
Yeah.
I say monster. Bro, that's a cheese. Right? So, get with your pronunciation, dude.
So what's this dino call again? Because I've not seen that when I've been out for my little... I get a bit scared going out.
No, I mean, we see it, but it's really on the corner, but it's just so basic. You just walk past it. You don't even know it's a diner. There's like an awning, but everything else around the neighborhood is so nice. This is just a basic, it's nice diner. Nothing fancy about it at all.
I'm still so intimidated by the actual physical geographical size of this city that you and I both live in that I leave little sticks and little bits of litter as a guide, almost like a Hansel and Gretel breadcrumb trail so I can get home.
And then you notice when you find it, it's even more dirt when you left.
Well, that's sometimes I've walked around the block 6 times before I found the doorway. It's like some sort of magic.
It's unbelievable.
Okay, well,
but we go to the diner. Very easy, no big deal, and it's cheap.
Well, we've got to sort the food out before we begin. But Odders has gripped so hard on his wheel, waiting for his little shout out, that he's lost all circulation to his fingers. So just give those fingers a quick little rap on the steering wheel, Odders, just to get the blood flowing. That's fine, my friend. He always drives on the right-hand side of the road now, Bobby, even though he's in the UK. But if you see Odders coming, he's got his hazards on. Who was that?
That was Red Diesel, and it's a new Mercedes, bro.
Red He don't drive a Mercedes, it's red.
Listen, it has a Mercedes logo. I mean, I don't know where he got that from.
eBay.
But he just attached it to the top of his car. That's what he says it is. I'm not going to argue with the man, you know?
But you've got a slightly higher stall than me, so you can see out the window. All I hear is the reverberation of that bad boy exhaust that he's got.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, man.
Well, Red Diesel, one of the locals in the area. He's a deep south version of Vin Diesel that drives a Toyota Starlet with a Mercedes badge glued on the front of it.
Right, exactly. With crazy
with some craggle. Yeah.
Unbelievable, bro.
Sorry, Odders. It's time I ask, because they know the show can't start, Bobby. I don't know what that preamble was. Without me saying to you, Bobby, what you been playing?
All right, it's been a really weird week for me. I've been playing 3 games, which I didn't really do. But I was recommended Rogue Company. It was free, so I downloaded it, playing that with my nephew and my boy Marlon, knocking it out. I was playing a little bit of Zombie Army Trilogy with my boy Marlon. I told my nephew to download it. It's $10, so he did. And then I've been playing, which I wish I had stopped playing, but I can't, Vampire. I honestly wish I never put that game on.
No.
It's god-awful.
You've had nothing good to say about it on our Discord channel, have you?
Yeah, no, every now and then I'll throw it in there. Like, I'm like, don't play Vampire. Just as a joke. A running joke.
If people want to know the behind the scenes and in between episode shenanigans of yourself and me to some certain extent, although I forget to go in our own Discord from time to time, but the rest of the community, the people that have made the show what it is to this point, regular names, probably more loved than even you. I'm the bad guy for this season, so they don't like me anymore. But and even Tom goes in the Discord, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
So if you want to get the lowdown on what people are playing and doing, that's where they need to go. So Vampire, not good. Why?
No. The action, the combat is just not fluid. It's not good. It's almost as they should have never just had combat in that game. I would have, and first of all, which is ironic because every time I die, which is quite often, they have a thing loading screen, and it says vampires are powerful. Not many things can kill them. Well, that's ironic because everything kills me. A regular person kills me with a crossbow. Another vampire kills me with a hit. Because I mean, if you're playing as a bad guy, the game you're so overpowered you can't die. But if you're playing as a good guy, you're super underpowered, and it's ridiculous. So I just kept running around the map, killing respawning enemies until I leveled myself up to where I feel I should be. And even then, it's just the combat's just not fun. It's like dodge, dodge, hit, use your little vampire power. You know, meeting the people, following the story is kind of interesting. That's the only thing keep me, besides the platinum, that's the only thing keeping me from playing this game. It's just not good. And it's the people who made Life is Strange, the same people. And I found that game to be interesting. It's a story-based game, but they added combat. And one of my friends told me, "Oh, it's very similar to Bloodborne." First of all, whoa, not even close, dude. It's similar to Trash. That's what it's similar to. It's slow. It's repetitive.
It mostly resembles Trash.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. If I could buy that dude's coat, that's an amazing coat. It's like, I don't know what you guys call it over there, but it looks like a trench mixed overcoat, I guess.
Okay.
It's not that navy coat, whatever you guys call that. It's not feeling like that, but it looks kind of cool. I like it.
I'll look that out. I've purposely ignored, as soon as I saw that Need for Speed and Vampire was coming out, I was like,
See,
I'll add them to library. You never know. It might be a cold day in hell, but I might play it.
I knew when they spelled it wrong that it shouldn't have been played. Vampire.
Sounds like Bada Bing Rextra Gamer has come in and done a vampire game. Vampire, sir.
I bet he could have made a better vampire game.
Oh, he could make better anything.
100%.
He could make this conversation 10 times better than it is just by being here, not saying a thing. That's the effort he can add. Is that it? Any other games?
No. What have you been up to?
I've hit what could only be described as the wall. I've bounced from big game to big game this year. Those that have listened in, those that have added a couple of Final Fantasies to the scalps list, have added numerous games this year that have come out. Ghost of Tsushima, I've added that to the scalp list. Last of Us 2, and all the Assassin's Creeds that I replayed, game after game after game, rolling from win after win after win. But Grand Theft Auto 4, as much as I enjoyed it going in, I was straight out of the blocks going, yeah. I said last week I'm struggling with it, and I am. So I downloaded The Witcher 3. So I've done a couple more 3 or 4 missions on GTA 4 since we last spoke. But mainly I've been sort of stuck in a bit of a YouTube rut, watching just what can only be described as drivel on there, really. I downloaded Witcher 3. Now, we've spoken about this off air, but the settings amazing. I'm like all in on that. I think the idea of being a Witcher is cool. I think the graphics look good, especially for the year that it came out. I'm finding the actual mechanisms of controlling him a little bit twitchy. Like, but maybe I started it late at night one day. I was like, actually, I ought to give that a go. And maybe when you come to some games sometimes that have maybe been overhyped, I was kind of expecting the level of finesse of player character control that you experience in something like GTA 4 or Red Dead. And, he's very, very, very twitchy, and the combat seemed a little bit sort of loose. But, I'll persevere with it possibly, because last night, out of frustration and probably not wanting to let go of my current PS3 obsession, because the PS4, I could drop kick out the window, not because it's a bad machine, just because I keep finding unique and interesting experiences on the PS3. I thought, I'm going to play Catherine.
I heard this was a really interesting game.
Mate. It's got all the slickness of presentation of a Persona game wrapped up in a guy in his early 30s that's stuck in a... You know, when you get older, you get into a relationship and like one of you expects more from it than the other, and you know, you don't quite know where it's going, but you're towing the line. You're like, yeah, I'm just, you know, could be better, it could be worse, sort of thing. And he's married. He's not married, but he's in a relationship with Catherine with a K. And she's like, you know, we've been together a certain amount of time now. I think we should get married. And through the presentation of the game, you're getting texts saying, oh, so and so's getting married, and they've already got, you know, they're going to try for kids. Blah blah blah's got kids, and blah 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 getting married, and it's all presented in. As I say, if you've played any Persona game, the presentation that links the bits together is absolutely peerless, and this game does it just as well. And you're like listening to the characters, you're watching it unfold on the show, on the TV screen, like a TV show almost, but it's done with that art style that they're famous for. Anyway, when he goes to sleep, he ends up in this strange world where he has to pull or push blocks in an attempt to climb higher and higher because the blocks keep disappearing beneath him. Now, that part of the game is a very, very simple premise, but my goodness gracious me, Bobby, it's absolutely rock solid at times.
I heard it was really challenging.
It is really challenging. So some blocks you can't pull or push. I'm in the torture chamber area at the moment. I couldn't stop playing it last night. I just kept going and going and going.
It's awesome.
And I got to a part where I just evaporated all my lives, but luckily I'd saved just before. So it was like, oh, I don't know how. There was a couple of times yesterday evening when I was playing it where I was thinking to myself, I don't know how to progress. I don't know how to progress this forward. And then I got lucky and then died. So I knew how to navigate that first section, but then needed to learn the next section. It's simple, but it's so well presented. And the way that it's presented and wraps itself into the premise of the fact that every 100 years, much, you know, very Persona-like, every 100 years, a man gets cursed or the men get cursed, and they have to navigate this nighttime labyrinth in their dreams, because if they die in their dreams, they die in real life. And one guy, as the story's unfolded to this point, one guy's already been found dead in his bed, you know, having had some sort of a night terror, and that's presented on the news. And you meet in the non-gameplay sections, you find yourself in a bar with your friends just talking about life, the universe, and everything. You know, it's normally you and three guys, and on one of the nights they've gone home and you've decided to continue drinking your blues away. And a Catherine with a C turns up. And she's like, you know, young, beautiful. Anyway, you go through another nightmare sequence at nighttime. The next morning, there's no spoilers here because I think everybody kind of roughly knows this. You wake up and she's in bed with you. And he's like, oh my God, what have I done? You know, he even says to her, I'm in a relationship with someone and this is and she's not even really listening. She's like, okay, no problems. I'm late for a dentist appointment. You know what they get like? See you soon. Boom, she's gone. And you get asked questions in the nightmare world as well. You go into a confessional box. So you finish one section of the level in the nightmare, and then you go and you talk to other men who are inhabiting this world. Now, they see you as a sheep, but you see them as sheep. So you're surrounded by sheep of all things. It's completely bonkers. And you go into a confessional box and you have to answer questions. And one of them, as an example, was question one was, do you believe that marriage is the beginning or the end of your life? And you have to pull a string that says yes or no. So you pull the one that you feel is the right answer. And then the confessional box turns into a lift that takes you up to the next section. Once you're up on the next section, you get to a screen that shows you how the audience have voted so it tracks your data online. So then it shows you like a pie chart of who said yes or no. And it's fascinating to get an insight into people's heads about what they think about relationships and what that means to you as a person. And
pretty cool, man.
Honestly, if you've got it in your collection, because again, it's one of those games I picked up for £1.
It was free, right? I think.
Oh, possibly.
I think I have it on the PS3. The only reason why I didn't play it is because it looked so super like Japanese style. I wasn't sure. I was like,
but there's something about the way that the Persona boys put stuff up on the screen and the way they present it is it's Japanese, but the voice acting is fantastic. You know, even the female voice actor, when you press pause, it's like pause, and it's dead slick. You know, it's dead futuristic and so slickly done when you press pause and you go in the menus and the female narration, everything from the moment you put the disc in and it's installed and you go, it is of the highest presentation quality you can imagine for a game. That's, to be honest, what I think their games are most famous for. The way it presents it all to you is amazing. Anyway, that was a bit of a dry old do, wasn't it? Me waffling on about Catherine with a C.
Yeah, listen, I was interested, bro.
It is awesome. It is a. I'm going to see it. Well, you know, there's the I want to see it through line on the graph. And then there's my gaming skill level line here. And somewhere where they intersect is probably where I'll stop playing, probably about 2 levels on from where I am. But hey, there's guides and stuff on the internet. And if I get stuck, I just don't see how that game can have a guide because I suppose you could watch someone play it through on a level on YouTube and be like, okay, so I need to pull the 6th block from the left in and then climb and then do this and do that and the other. But some of the techniques, the really advanced techniques that you learn from other sheep about how to progress through the level, you're like, I never would have thought of that. But it's nice they present those to you as almost mini tutorials. That's all I've played. I don't want to bore the living wheels off of people with a game that's probably older than most of our listeners, but there you go. Completely. And you can't get customizable skins and there's no ranking system and it's just a game. That means those that know the show format, Bobby, they know it's time for the news. We've scoured the very darkest regions of the internet to bring you the latest stories. First up, do you want to go, Bobby, or shall I?
I do it.
Okay.
Xbox without the box.
What's this?
Microsoft's head of gaming and Xbox, Phil Spencer, has hinted that the company is planning TV streaming sticks for its xCloud cloud gaming service. In an interview, Spencer discusses the potential for additional tiers of Xbox Game Pass, which could include a free bundled TV stick to play xCloud games. I think you're going to see lower priced hardware as part of our ecosystem when you think about streaming sticks and other things that somebody might want to just go plug into their TV and play via xCloud, says Spencer. You could imagine us even having something that we just included in Game Pass subscription that gave you an ability to stream xCloud games to your television and buying the controller. Spencer also teases the potential for an Xbox Game Pass Platinum with guaranteed access to new Xbox hardware. Microsoft has been bundling Xbox subscriptions and hardware together in something called Xbox All Access, which includes access to Xbox Game Pass and the latest Xbox Series S and Series X consoles. It's a bundle that Spencer is obviously keen to experiment with in the future.
Wow. Okay. So are they planning on taking it to Stadia here? Or is this something that you can only get if you already own an Xbox console to assist you with? Or could I rock up at Game or whatever we've got here in the States? I don't even know anymore. GameStop. Yeah. And go, Xbox Series X, $400. Xbox streaming stick and Games Pass subscription. Buy it today with 12 months for $69.99. And I take it home. I maybe need a controller. Maybe it comes packaged in it. Let's say it's $100 for the whole thing, including a year subscription. And I'm playing 4K HDR games off of a USB streaming stick. I don't even need the $400 piece of silicon anymore. We're done. What does that mean? Is that the future of gaming? Because at this point, I don't own any games.
It seems to be that it's hinting that way. That it's just going to get rid of consoles in general. which I'm not really a fan of, but
are we dinosaurs? Is Phil Spencer so much? Is Phil Spencer from like 2046 and we're from 2020?
If you look at it here, at least in New York, so many people have got rid of their cable because it's just too expensive.
Yeah.
That they get like a Roku or a Google, what's it called? Chromecast.
Yeah.
And they just log on to their accounts with Netflix and Hulu, and like my phone provider pays for my T-Mobile. I mean, my T-Mobile provider pays for my Netflix. I got my friend's Hulu, and we have Amazon Prime. So right there, I had 3 streaming services for basically what, $10, $20 maybe.
Yeah.
So do I need my cable box? I mean, not really.
My only argument there is cable box, admittedly, has got fat, it's got bloated, it's got expensive. It's a similar sort of situation in the UK. Okay, that's fair enough. That's the old model.
Mm-hmm.
The new disruptive models have come in where they're giving you everything, including the kitchen sink, for not a lot of money. So you ditch your current provider and you get on board. Do you not think in this world of having to make 10% more profit year on year on year that the Netflix, Amazon Prime and Hulu subscription prices are not going to go up? Because if you don't think that, you're insane.
First of all, they're going to go up. And the internet that you have is going to go up.
I agree.
Okay, so you got rid of cable box. That's cool. You pay $60 a month for internet. Well, you know what? You could pay the $60 for internet, but we're going to lower your bit rate, whatever they call it. All right? And then we're going to make different tiers. So if you want to play an Xbox or Xbox game, you're going to need even higher speed internet. So now you're going to pay that.
Picture the scene. Now, it's very disruptive and it's very early days. Xbox are practically giving games away at this point in time.
Yep.
But if they can get this to be a success and they get enough people on it, what's to stop them going, okay, you want access to your library? Crank. This is what you're going to have to pay a month now. And if you don't, there's the door.
Mm-hmm.
But you know that you've given us over the last 6 years XYZ hundreds of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
That's literally in the bin.
Yeah.
Is that a pro-consumer choice at that point, or is that anti-consumer?
It's anti for me.
Yeah.
If you keep raising my subscription every year just to access what I don't even have physically, it comes to a point where it's like, well, then why am I even paying for this?
Yeah, because at the moment it could be argued that they are the white knights. I just wonder if we're ushering in this era of generosity without realizing that behind it is possibly some vicious price hikes. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how.
There's gonna be.
But how as a gamer can you try and like lock off some of that content? Like, can you? I suppose you've got the option to buy it digitally, but then
but digitally, so I can't sell it.
You can't sell it, but at least if you say, do you know what, I can't afford Games Pass anymore, I'm out, you're still going to have a select number of games that you can play?
Well, that's the question I want to ask, because if, let's say, you don't want to do your Game Pass anymore,
mm-hmm.
all the games that you played and downloaded, do you still have them?
I think the ones that you didn't ever buy, they're gone.
Because I know PS Plus, if you don't have it, every game you downloaded, you don't have.
Yeah, it's walled off to you. Yeah,
but obviously games you bought, you obviously have digitally at least. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think it's the same deal there. So if you got, let's say, you get an Xbox Series S or the PlayStation Digital,
mm-hmm.
Or the Series S has still got a drive on it, though, hasn't it? From memory. Oh no, you're right. So the PS5 Digital or the Series S, you get that. You go all digital ecosystem, you go all in, which is fine if you don't want clutter. You don't want games, random pieces of plastic that basically hold a CD key. Mm-hmm. That's all it is, because it's going to do a lot of downloading off the net anyway.
Yeah.
But it does represent physical ownership. If you don't want any of that, and you want a slick John Lennon-style apartment like Tom's apartment was before we moved in, and put rugs down and put our face masks that we wear to roam the streets of New York over the crotches of his Greek Poseidon-like statues, where so we either didn't have to get embarrassed or let's face it, stare an uncomfortably amount of time at them.
Yeah, which I've done.
You've done as well.
Can't help it.
Okay,
It's just there, you know. What are you gonna do?
And that thing that Eva carved a few episodes ago,
that was outrageous.
Well, Big Ron, as I
For
call him,
real.
He's yeah. I mean, Big Ron, aka Tripod. He makes you feel. She's put him on the way to the bathroom as well, so he makes you feel a little bit sort of unworthy as you go between rooms.
Yeah, that's
I have to admit, I kind of sort of get halfway through on my way to, and I don't think I even need a Wii anymore, and I'll go back and have to play a game for a little while. It's a little bit awkward. But where was I going with this? I've absolutely no idea.
You're going to get into the point of digital only.
Oh, yes, you've got this perfectly Tom-like apartment. It's pristine. I won't go down the statues rabbit hole again. I just will not do it. And you have no physical media anymore. You've sold it all down at the GameStop. You've traded it in for Xbox points or PlayStation, whatever they call them, PlayStation dollars or some drivel. And you've took that back and you've blown it all on a new digital library. As long as you're spending money on that library, it's yours. If you're a Games Pass user, like the modern, I presume, ultimately what Xbox or PlayStation want you to be, the day that turns off, you've got nothing.
That's why, for me, I would buy a Series X or a PS5 physical, because you still have the option to do digitally. So if something happens, you could still play physical games.
Yeah, but let's just say for a moment you did go, you got an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 and you decided you were going to get, well, it's more of an Xbox argument, really. Let's say you get the Xbox Series X, you want to play online, you look at the deal and it's like, I might as well just get Games Pass. For what it is extra, I might as well get that. Then I've got this big library of games I can play. And you double down and this is great and you kick the wheels out of it and then your circumstances change and you can't get back on there. I guess if you didn't buy any physical games. But I suppose at that point, you can then go down GameStop and you buy games for $1 and it will still work on your machine. My concern is if we end up with the streaming sticks, PlayStation streaming stick or Xbox streaming stick or Google Stadia, which will kick PlayStation and Xbox into a cocked hat come the day. Once 100%. The giant is awoken.
100%.
All in on Stadia. Once you thanks Stadia for the sponsorship of the show and ZutaMax. Once that happens, I think to an old school gamer like you or I or some of our listeners, it's going to feel a very strange world, isn't it?
Yeah, because if your internet is junky,
which mine, well, here in New York it's fine, but
some other places don't have internet like that.
Well, some places here in the States, they've still got a Blockbuster, Bobby, because they can't get good enough internet, but they still want to watch the latest movies. So Blockbuster's survived.
Do
you think this is the last era? Is this the last era of console with a disc drive?
Probably. Because let's say the average 6-7 years, right?
Yeah.
So 6-7 years, you're looking at 2027. 2028. I mean, look how far we advanced just from 2000. Look how far we came from 20 years, even 10 years, the technology. So why would you keep doing what you've been doing? It's like the people who were physically writing down stuff on pen and paper have now been replaced by computers, have now been replaced by tablets that you could just check off your job. Bro, even in Trestle, if you haven't noticed, they don't have paper and pen. They got a little tablet.
They do, yeah. When we went there after last episode.
And they click everything, and it goes right to the kitchen. Like, there's no mistake now. It's just boom, boom, boom. I mean, is this
just a signal that I'm an old curmudgeon and I need to get with the times and get a Stadia and an Xbox streaming stick when it comes out?
Yeah, and bro, we're the old school.
We are.
I'm 30. I'm going to be 38 in February. The next PS6 that comes out, or Xbox X25, whatever they're going to name it, I'm going to be 40, 45, dude, 46. I mean, the technology then is just going to be through the roof, and no one's catering to us. They're catering to the new generation.
Is it time to accept that console gaming's not aimed at us now?
No, it's definitely
and we've
not.
just got to accept what the kids want. And
yeah, you have no choice. You don't have a choice, bro. The times
so
are changing.
what was our sort of apex? Did we apex on the PS3 and Xbox 360? Was that our time as a gamer?
Yeah, you would have to think at least the PS3, PS4 era. I mean, the graphic.
No, but what I mean is as a demographic age for being a user.
That's bro, you went from Nintendo, you went from Atari or Commodore 64 to Nintendo, absolutely destroyed everything. Okay, then the Sega came out with the Master System, try to compete. Okay, hold on, hold this, boom, Super Nintendo, wrecked everything. Right? Then they try to make N64. What happened now? Boom, PlayStation, wrecked everything. Then the Xbox came out, competition, and it's just been going up the ladder. So everything is changing. Even the way we play games are changing. You went from sitting on the couch with your friend to sitting with your friend who's all the way in Australia playing a game together on a headset. People are
seamlessly. And do you know what? That people don't realize how amazing that is. Because do you remember back in the day if they went via satellite to Arkansas from New York and the guy was like, someone would say, so what's the weather like? Yeah, the weather is great, Maureen. Yeah, got a little bit of delay on the satellite. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's welcome to Arkansas, where we're getting strapped down for a snowstorm from hell. I mean,
even
in Arkansas,
even your smartphone is basically the most advanced computer you have. Your home, unless you're a huge PC gamer, I'm sure your PC and your laptop in your house is just what you need to do everyday life. Meanwhile, your phone, light years ahead of it.
Yeah.
Technology is where it's at. I'm sorry. It's just, if you're not moving forward at this time and age, you're behind.
True.
You might as well just go play Nintendo games and just forget about PS5 and Xbox Series X.
Which I did for quite some time. I crawled into some sort of retro black hole. And
yeah, because I mean, it is what it is. I feel like I'd rather play a Super Nintendo game or a Sega Genesis game than some of the early PlayStation games. I just can't. I can't anymore. That's how far technology we are that I can't do 10 controls. For me, it's, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the future is where it's at, bro. And this is the last console system, and we're going to be 46 buying a new console. I mean, it is what it is. Good luck. The kids will already be ready to get the next thing. Doesn't matter. The future is coming, and you can't stop it.
Well, that's one thing that's guaranteed. Constantly moving forward. Time. Mm-hmm. Bobby, this might possibly be the longest news section we've ever had. But next up in the news, Nintendo fixed the drift. In classic Nintendo style, it seems their fix to drift is to lower the single Joy-Con's price from $49 or £49 to $39 or £39, starting from the 9th of November. While this is a welcome change, it's worth noting that $39.99 is exactly half the price of a full set, so buying two individually is sadly still no cheaper than buying a pair. At least upgrading one is a little cheaper now. Users in Japan can buy grey, neon red, neon blue, neon yellow, neon green, red, and neon pink Joy-Con from the country's official store. We're still waiting for storefront updates in Europe and the USA, but expect them to follow suit, then push through to independent retail outlets from November. Have you got the light, or have you got the? Eva holds it that close to herself. You've got the original, haven't you?
Yeah, I would never get the light. What's the point?
You can't even dock it to a TV. I suppose.
I know people. Yeah, but again,
if you're a kid,
no.
I know you're not a kid, but imagine for a moment you were, and you'd normally played on a 3DS, and you can get a Switch, and you haven't got a TV in your bedroom, and mum and dad like to have the big TV for watching Game of Thrones or whatever it is they're watching on there. Suits, Grey's Anatomy or some sort of grown-up show that a grown-up might watch. House, Breaking Bad, all those shows. 24 even.
Mhm.
Maybe even CSI Vegas or something weird like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then surely a Switch Lite's the perfect solution.
Yeah, but I mean, you just get the Switch, right? And it's the same thing. And then the chance I can dock it, I can. I mean, what kid doesn't have a TV in their room? It's 2020. I can't imagine that.
Yeah, but
I
why
had
would,
a
you have
TV.
why would you have a TV in your room? What
I
you
have a
watch?
TV
What you using it for?
to watch
This
TV.
this is old you. Kids don't watch TV anymore.
Oh, they do, because TVs are bigger, cheaper, and smarter.
They watch, but they watch YouTube.
They still watch from their TV.
No,
You can do. They have smart TVs. You could log into YouTube on your TV.
They do it on their phone.
You
I
could.
don't know why. They're not. We grew up praying to the mighty TV god in the corner of the room. We built an altar for it, a little shrine that we would sit it on, maybe even put a little doily for it to sit on, and we would sit and pray to the schedule and the TV god.
100%.
That they've got this separation now where they've never had to get down on the rug and pray to the TV god.
Yeah.
They've got it in the palm of their hand.
Well, that's true too.
And while they're doing that, they're doing all their other stuff. So the TV in the room, it's.
I guess for me, if I had the option, I always want both.
Yeah, I think as a an adult with a gaming setup,
I feel like if you bought a Switch Lite, that's it. You just can't do anything but handheld. But if you bought a Switch, even if you handheld 90% of the time, with that 10% chance or time, you can put it right onto the TV. Because my Switch is played basically 99% on the TV.
Is it?
I don't even take it out. I even forget that you can. That's
how does it look on the TV?
Looks great. Looks fine to me. I mean, for whatever they're presenting and their graphic style, it looks fine. But again, I really only get Nintendo games for the Switch. I don't do third-party games. There's no need for me to do that. I have a PS4 for that. I'm not gonna get.
And you've got a dodgy Xbox off a Russian barber.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get Witcher 3 on Switch. That's crazy.
What a dog's breath. But then again, imagine if you didn't have anything other than a Switch. For whatever reason, you've gone all in on Nintendo. The fact that the Switch can make a passable attempt at Witcher 3 is pretty good.
I mean, from people who I know who have it,
yeah,
they wish they just got it for the PS4 or Xbox One.
Oh,
it's not. It's never going to be that. You can't put that game on a Switch. I don't care what they try to do. Too much.
Well, I think this episode we've learned that we're old before our time.
I feel like we are just the old knights. You know what? Like, can you imagine?
No, I know. No, mate. You know the Muppets, and there's the two guys up in the balcony.
That's us. That's us, bro.
That's us, yeah.
Well, you know what else I feel we are?
What?
Imagine the time of the knight where you had the armor ready to go with the sword and shield.
Yeah.
But like the English army's already got uniforms and guns.
Right.
Time to drop the armor, bro.
Time to pick up a machine gun.
Yeah, I mean, what's the point? I feel like we are. I feel like we're Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai. And we're charging down our horses with our little samurai armor, and they just have a gun that the guy's cranking the wheel. Da, 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 da. I mean, what are you going to do? Throw a bow and arrow at him?
That's not going to work. That's
where we are, bro. That's where we are in the gaming world. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
Oh, no. The White Knights.
We are that in the gaming world.
Crikey.
Because I have a real issue sometimes with digital only. Oh, handheld only.
Is that Dave? Why is he bibbing?
Because he's really busy today, apparently.
Is he bibbing to say that he's here to take us to that diner?
No, we could walk to that diner.
So what's he bibbing for?
There's another lady waiting on the corner. I guess she Ubered him, and she's not sure what car it is, and literally it's the only car in front of her. And she's still looking up and down the block. See, look, now she just got in. So she was definitely not paying attention.
Dave was telling me that he slicks his hair down with when he goes. Obviously, he works a lot of hours. Dave, the taxi driver, and he was saying to me that when he goes in some of these diners or McDonald's or whatever, he uses the restroom in there, and he does. As he leaves, he passes the condiment section, the ketchup and the mayo and all that sort of stuff, and he grabs a couple of little sachets of mayo, because he says it's just a lot cheaper and it gives it a real slick look. So he slicks back his dark greying mane with mayo that he's managed to get hold of from.
Yeah, that's why you have like that weird musky scent from him.
It's certainly its own sort of aroma.
And sometimes you see like the oil separating a little bit. That's not sweat, bro. That's the oil.
Have you ever seen his headrest?
It's kind of greasy.
My goodness gracious me.
Nice man, just, maybe shampoo once in a while.
Questionable cleanly habits. Last bit of news. I've got my teeth in, so face off. The PlayStation 5's white outer shell can be easily removed from the console. It's yet to be officially confirmed, but the theory is that we'll be able to replace the default casing with different coloured or patterned faceplates in the future. We wouldn't be surprised to see Sony flogging all kinds of custom panels down the line, but a third-party outfit looks to have beaten them to the punch. PlayStation 5 is a website offering a handful of alternate colour faceplates for your PS5, and its products are available to pre-order and purchase right now. If you're not a fan of the white casing, you can go here and select from a few different options shown off with some 3D renders. Mark my words, 3D renders, nothing legit. This seems like one of the biggest cons going right now. Displaying the console equipped with various colours. At the time of writing, you can choose from red, blue, camo, chrome, and of course black. They're all available in standard and digital edition sizes too. The custom faceplates will set you back $40, but we're pretty sure that people will pay up to have a PS5 in their favourite colour. But there's no guarantee that Sony will offer official variants. We've not heard anything from them about these faceplates, which is very Xbox 360, I have to admit. So PlayStation 5 is your best bet now. Having said that, the company is extremely new, set up a few days ago. That's the PlayStation 5 one, so there's no track record. So we would recommend you being very, very cautious about blowing your cash or giving them your bank details, because it might just be a complete naughty website. Anyway, what do you guys think of the unofficial custom faceplates? You must be a fan if you listen to this show. Which colour would you want to put on your PS5? Are you happy with white? Or are you going to be forking out for a different style? Bobby, do you think you're going to get different coloured faceplates?
No, but I'll tell you this. If this is a legitimate site, that's awesome. Number two, I can only imagine the Etsy crew getting just a basic white or black faceplate.
Yeah.
Redesigning it and selling it, because I follow a guy called End of Line Designs.
Yeah.
And I got some of his controllers, which is basically, it's only like $140. Now you're thinking, oh my God, it's a lot of money. But a PS4 controller is $60, right? So for 60 more bucks, I just got it super customed. So now imagine someone makes like, I don't know, God of War, Days Gone, beautiful faceplates with beautiful art. You think it'd be awesome
at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there that pick up like special edition consoles, be it an Xbox or a PlayStation. But every time PlayStation have a big game come out, be it Days Gone, be it God of War or whatever, they'll bring out a themed console.
But I feel they're so basic.
Are we to imagine that era for PlayStation is dead?
No, they'll 100%.
Yeah, but what's the point when all they're going to be doing is slotting on a new faceplates? They might as well sell the faceplates and sell more of them. Or will they? Or this is a classic Sony move. Will they release a themed console with faceplates that are exclusive only to that themed console? That's a Sony move.
Yeah, but they would do that because they did it before.
But you can't get the faceplates. You can't get those faceplates separately at an RRP independent store.
They'll do it. Why not? They've done it before. So why would they then do it now? Of course they do it again.
So do you think they're going to release like a special faceplate? Because let's face it, they can. This would be a Sony move. So you can go and get a faceplate for the new God of War Ragnarok, and that's one design.
Yeah.
But there's a special design
Of course.
to the faceplates for the.
Bro. Imagine
Just give me all your money now.
Imagine you don't have a PS5 yet. You waited, and now you waited for God of War to come out, and then boom, special edition controller, special edition faceplate, special edition PS5. Of course you're gonna get it. Of course they're gonna do that. And then you know what? Oh, you already have a PlayStation? Cool. You can't get something this cool, but check out this God of War. It's it's pretty cool. It's not as cool. People will buy it. Of course they will. Bro, people buy those skins. I'm guilty of it too.
You bought a skin?
Yeah, I bought a skin. I know a guy I follow. His name's ArtoCube on Instagram. And
you really are a gaming celebrity.
Listen, he makes skins for everything. So he made skins for the NES controller, the Sega Genesis controller, the DS's. So I got a Switch skin with the Breath of the Wild. Bro, beautiful. I mean, he even tells you how to put them on, so it looks like, and it's great quality. You go to skins, what is that? GamingSkins.com or whatever. They have everything. They even have skins for the Xbox Series X already. The big tower. Mm-hmm. It's a whole wrap. It looks amazing.
Wow.
And it's just a skin, dude. It's not even a freaking, and they look good. So of course now you have a piece of art you can just boom pop in. People are thinking about hiding their Xbox behind the TV because there's no room. Well, now you have to find a freaking shelf for it because look at this art.
It's art. It's Banksy.
Look at this art, bro. Banksy can get on it. Why not? He could do it.
He should, shouldn't he?
I'm telling you, Etsy's gonna go crazy if this is real and they buy this for $40. They can sell their custom faceplates for $100 and make the money back. No problem.
And you're gonna have people like using like modeling clay and building it up to look like all sorts of stuff, aren't you?
Did you ever see that Castlevania NES that guy made?
Yes. Yeah.
It was the friggin' castle disguised in the NES. Bro, that was amazing.
Are we gonna see PlayStation 5s ending up like with these faceplates? You could literally do anything with them.
It's gonna be awesome.
But saying that, right? I remember when the 360 launched at a different time, where people were still buying. Well, you could get different faces for your Nokia phone. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the Xbox 360 was designed and launched at the end of the clip-on fascias for phones era.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want a faceplate. I was like, nah, that's just ridiculous.
I love it.
Okay.
Bro, if somebody bought or created... Okay, I have a fan here, right? Whatever model this fan is. It's a stand-up fan. If somebody was like, yo, I can make you a faceplate for this, don't tell me that, bro. I'll slap that bad boy in his fan. I have a custom fan. Oh, your fan's black? Okay, cool. My fan is, Jungle Veem.
You call them veens. I call them vines.
I say. Did you hear me? Come on, man. That's what I said, bro.
I don't know what I heard anymore. Listen, gamers, every week we say to you, message in. We want to hear your thoughts on faceplates. Don't leave the inbox being empty. It's my turn to tell you this. Did we miss anything? Do you have an opinion on take on the news we missed? Give us your thoughts on faceplates. Are they so 2005 that they've got no idea they've just walked into the local disco wearing something that's just very unfortunate looking? Or are they actually walking in and reviving an old-fashioned and looking cool? If the collection masses want to get in touch with us, Bobby, they can email us or they can contact us via DM or any of the socials, normal comment interactions, be it on Instagram or Twitter, or they can email us at questions@unofficialcontrolonpodcast.com or DM us on Instagram or Twitter. Now, one person did reach out on the email last week, so they listened and understood.
Beautiful.
Now, would you believe since I've left him there in the rather overcast and grey UK, we actually got a message from legit James the Work Experience Boy. And his question for you and I is, quite simply, what game are you and I most looking forward to?
Okay. To be honest, I'll have to say Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I'm a sucker for that, bro. You throw a Viking on the cover, I gotta play it.
I'm split every which way but Sunday. Like, I'm excited for Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Me too.
I'm also very excited for Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also very excited for Valhalla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also kind of intrigued at Cyberpunk 2077. There's that many games. If I had to boil it all down to being into just one of them, I think, much like you, I'm keen to see what Valhalla is going to look like next gen. Now, I see it being the sort of upgrade between 360 Black Flag and Series Xbox One Black Flag, or PS3 to PS4. But, you know, the idea of what that game is and the country it's based in, obviously, has me excited. Obviously, we've had American Assassin's Creed, and now we're going to get British Assassin's Creed, albeit 1,000 years ago. But yeah,
still,
exciting.
You guys had 2 games, right? In England?
Well, not what?
With 3.
Assassin's Creed? No, this would be the first one. Oh, no, yeah, of course. We had that London one, didn't we?
Wait, that was with the brothers,
Syndicate.
the twins, right?
Yeah, I wasn't keen. I actually think Unity is, although it's glitched and buggy, Unity is, it looks like an oil painting come alive. Whereas I feel like Syndicate was a graphical downgrade to get the game to be more playable. But the actual artistry and thematic ideas of what Unity put up was way more interesting to me. Every week, Bobby. So thank you. There you go, James, the Work Experience Boy. There's your answer. There's a harken back to the Farmerton days, Bobby. Do you remember those?
I do.
My goodness gracious me. When you were just a mere, not mere, because you've always been a valuable part of the show, but you were just
I've been immortalized, bro.
You were just a contributor on the periphery, and then boom, Tom gets arrested, or, well, I don't know what happened in the History of Sonic episode, but Tom wasn't around. His ego got the better of him. And he didn't go on a grand tour or some nonsense. I don't even know anymore. Yeah. Well,
apparently it was his farewell tour.
To be fair, it wasn't long after that he got back, and he was arrested, and Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested. I'm not, and it all happened at the same time. So I'm not one to cast aspersions, Tom, but we can't say for what you've been arrested and incarcerated for, but the timings are a little awkward.
Yeah.
And considering some of the artwork that I've stumbled across on, do you know, every now and then when I'm bored, I think I'm going to go for a walk around, because you've got the east wing of Tom's New York apartment overlooking Central Park, and I've got the west wing. And sometimes I think I'm just going to keep walking to see where this apartment actually ends. And it just keeps going and going and going. And I keep looking in these rooms and finding more and more bizarre. What's the most bizarre thing you and Eva have found on the east wing of Tom's apartment?
Okay. Imagine mini books, maybe the size of your thumb.
Yeah.
Okay. That you can just flip, and every picture is a different animation.
Okay.
I'm talking about thousands of them.
Really?
And there's like a little stick figure, like throwing a ball. He could be running into and sliding, jumping off a building. There's just really well detailed graphically. Whoever drew that small is a brilliant man. And whoever made 1,000 of those really had no time. So I'm thinking maybe it was a prisoner.
Someone with a lot of time on the hands. The strangest room I've found so far is last night I couldn't sleep. So I thought I'm going to walk. I walked up the stairwell and I got a little bit tired, so I stopped. And I thought, this floor's perfect. I'll walk down this corridor. And I picked a random series of doors. I thought, I know, I'll find out what's in this 7th room of this corridor. And I don't know how many, I kind of lost count of how many flights I went up, but I opened a room. Now, the windows must have been plastered over because it was a perfect square, completely white. Every wall was white. There was not a shred of dirt in there. And in the center, on a pink plinth, was a very, very detailed marble carving of a duck.
I feel like I haven't been to every room.
I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it is. You know what it's like?
How much was he sucking out of this show to pay for this? I mean, an apartment that overlooks Central Park, that's expensive.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I don't know how much you... Listen, I have no idea. All I know is that I feel, if I can best describe to the listeners, if you ever played Animal Crossing, so when you upgrade your house to the max, it just looks a little bigger. But when you enter, nothing makes sense of what you've seen. Because it just goes left, right, down, up. But I just walked into this house. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
That's why we try and keep around the central hub, don't we? So we don't get lost.
It's kind of scary, bro. Like, I have to make sure I come back to record with you. I can't be getting lost out here.
No.
And some cell phone reception doesn't really work everywhere, which also kind of freaks me out. So I'll look at my phone constantly. Once I see no bars, I'm out.
You've gone too far.
Yeah, I got to bring somebody with me in case we get lost together.
It's
kind of creepy. Beautiful, but creepy at the same time.
Yeah, it's very strange. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, does it?
Mm-mm.
I mean, next week, I'm thinking that seeing as it's the inevitable Halloween special 02, I see the Halloween special a little bit like the WrestleMania of the show.
100%.
Yeah. So we'll maybe do it. We should do it in Roman numerals.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
I feel like almost like Stingray had a little bit of his ideas in his house because things are just unbelievable.
He must have been involved. And I think...
a little bit of magic, bro.
I think since we signed with Zutamax, like the money's been there, but I feel like Tom must have been taking some back shill from Zutamax since the show began.
Probably.
Because that's the sort of money that can only build such a strange and bizarre place.
If you haven't really noticed, the coffee guy, he went to the bathroom. Still don't know where he is.
He's got lost.
Like, what bathroom did you use? Because you're gone, dude.
Well, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but I noticed that I was walking around the other day and I noticed that, hang on a minute, this floor isn't flat. You know, in most buildings, you put a spirit level down and it'll be right in the bubble will be right between the lines. I've noticed that every single floor is canted at a +1 degree angle. You're constantly walking uphill. There's not one straight board, but it's all... But then you look outside and all the windows line up.
Kind of odd.
It's not right, is it?
It's a very fascinating building, really.
Well, let me tell you one thing. They came here for a feature, and they've waded through two dinosaurs' opinion on what a console should be. They've waded through some news about a Nintendo Joy-Con, and they've waded through a very bizarre story about the apartment block we live in. But they probably... more than likely turned up to hear their comment read out on air. It's the games you hated yet still completed feature. You get the shiny disco. You've took a punt, or maybe this game you've been assessing. Maybe it's a game you've been obsessing over for a while. You pop it in your machine and bam, it hits you. You hate this tat. With each button press, a sea of hatred and anger swirls in you, raising to a crescendo between bad controls and hideous graphics. The collision detection is off. The NPCs have maybe one line of repeatable dialogue. This tutorial stuff is insulting and mind-numbing, you cry. Despite all this, though, you keep playing, be it blind boredom, be it the selfish feeling of not wanting to feel hoodwinked or that you've wasted your hard-earned money. Maybe, like some sort of ghoul, you're waiting to see its inner workings laid bare so you can play on like peeking at a car crash or some hideous accident. While all this is seeping into your mind, you notice something. The credits. Hang on, I finished it. It's at this moment you realise you sunk hours of your life into this steaming pile of fetid mess. But while you scream and drop into your knees, beating your fists to the floor, screaming why, you have no idea why. You've no idea or what or how you've spent these hours feeling nothing but hatred and still managed to see it through to the end. So while we discuss our hours we will never get back, we wanted to know yours. Which games made you froth at the mouth, but for some unknown reason, you've still played it through? Or are you a sensible person who refuses to finish something that you're not enjoying, even if it's only a small gripe ruining what some might call a masterpiece? Now, for me, I really only have two games that spring to mind of games that I was not enjoying but played through. The first, Bobby, is, I think I've talked about this on the show previously, but back in the day, I was an absolute rabid fanboy for the wrestling. Okay, I was a teenager, but a late teen. 16 to 21 was probably my most rabid era of fanboyism for wrestling. And it was the Attitude Era, or the dawn of the Attitude Era. Now, I'd got an N64 at the time, and I played WWF Warzone by Acclaim, which by all reckoning was terrible. I had WCW versus NWO World Tour Revenge, whatever it was called, and I knew that was the better game. But it was game. WCW.
Yeah.
Okay. So I used to have to pretend I was other characters in this game. All right. And I played the wheels off of that. And I also had WWF Warzone by Acclaim. Now, this game was absolutely terrible. It was, the graphics I don't think were that great, and the controls as simple yet deep and sort of, there was a level of complexity to the WCW games that was not evident in Attitude, or Warzone, sorry. You pressed grapple, up, down, left, right, circle, square, doom, like a special move for a Mortal Kombat, literally just to do a DDT. It was a string of characters that was so obtuse to remember, you wondered how you remembered them. And then if you did it slightly wrong, the grapple just unrelaxed. And you went back to just punching and kicking the person, which was also a completely acceptable way of winning the game. Now, me being me, I finished it with every character because I'm that sort of a weirdo. And I came away from the experience just wishing that the WCW makers of the WCW game would get hold of the WWE license. But me being a rabid fanboy, games I bought magazines, and it was at this point I was made aware that WWE or WWF Attitude was coming out. The sequel to Warzone, surely, I thought to myself, surely. I used to think on the drive home from work and when I had spare time to myself walking the dog, surely they've realised what was wrong with that game. As game developers, they must have played this WCW game and other wrestling games like the Power Move wrestling games on PlayStation. They must have played these games and thought to themselves, we've got the license, we've seen what the others are doing. Maybe if we use our graphics and then use this layer of controls over the top of it, we could make a better game. Surely we could. And it was delayed. It was delayed again and again and again. And I used to go in, and I didn't know Diamond Dale Mills' name at the time, but I would go in and bizarrely he would serve me. And I didn't know he was into the wrestle. And every week I would go in when it was meant to launch and say, is Attitude out yet? And he'd be like, no, mate. Okay, no problems. I'll try next month. And I used to try and try and try. Finally, it came out. Now, I think I have done this story on the show. I got it home, excited. I stuck it in the N64, and it was basically the same game. The same filthy pile of turd that the first game was, except they'd made it worse. The season mode was worse. It had no linking stuff. The graphics by this point had aged even further. It was an absolute screaming car crash of a mess of a game. Yet I was still so desperate to find a kernel of something in there that was good, because it launched about 2 weeks before me going away with a girlfriend at the time and her parents. I decided I was taking my TV, my portable TV, and my N64 with me because I was desperate to decide whether is this game terrible or maybe I just don't get it. And in my spare time on holiday, I played the Wheels Off Attitude. I finished it 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different characters while on this holiday and realized that no, it's terrible. But there's a light side to this story, Bobby. And I think I've said this on the show before. While I was on that holiday, I happened across a newsagent, and in it I saw one of the unofficial Nintendo magazines. Me being bored, away, no internet at the time, I used to read these magazines from cover to cover and absorb every detail. I thought, I'll get this. In it, in a small 1-inch by 1-inch column, it said that the WCW boys had managed to get the license to the WWF games and they would be producing them going forward. That was the glittering moment of light for me on that holiday as I stared down at this $69.99 N64 cart of crap.
Unbelievable.
Games I hated, yet still completed. I mean, the other one, and hate's a bit strong here because there were moments where I enjoyed it. Assassin's Creed Revelations. So you had Assassin's Creed 1, which will always be a favourite of mine. Assassin's Creed 2, which I'd never really played, that became a joyous experience that I thoroughly enjoyed. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, a game that I thought was fantastic, possibly the best of the Ezio games. Assassin's Creed Revelations moves from one iconic end of the Roman Empire, Rome, to the other side of the Roman Empire, the Roman Byzantine Empire, Constantinople.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, this could be a good thing. Now, whether I was Assassin's Creeded out or whether Revelations is not that good, I'm not sure. But I found myself pushing myself to play it, playing it and thinking, I just want this to end. Is this ended? Is this ended? You know, the tower mini games. It's like mobile defense games. Oh, everyone's playing tower defense games on mobile. Let's slap that in there. No, please don't. Everyone's sending people away on missions. I think that was in Brotherhood as well, but it was in this. And it's like, no, please don't. And it just felt like maybe the developers were sick of it as well, but still needed to crack out some sort of resolution to Ezio's story. Like we know, like, do we? Okay, please feel free, do it then. The one thing that kept me playing in it was the resolution to Desmond's story. Desmond, I thought, was an underutilized part of the Assassin's Creed franchise, who voiced by Nolan North, who we know as Drake, amongst many other voice works.
He's on a list.
Yeah. So that's another game. Hate's a bit strong. Normally I find that when I do a game and I'm not that keen on it, I'm not like you where I'm like, I need to get the platinum, because I'm not some sort of perverse weirdo.
Yeah.
Even if it's a game that I'm struggling with, as in, I just want this to end now because it's been 60, 70, 80 hours, a la maybe Final Fantasy 13, this as an example, I'm still enjoying some aspect of it, or I have enjoyed the majority of my time with it and therefore will continue. There's been very few games where I've gone, I hate this, and then still push through. So there's my duo. You've probably done about 16 examples that I'll waffle on about for 7 years, and therefore we're probably going to end up doing a 40-hour podcast. What are your prime examples before we drag in the mailbag?
I'm just going to go just down a little list.
Okay.
So, obviously, Vampire. Cannot stand that game at all. Layers of Fear 2. I really enjoyed the first one. I thought it was great. I think this was so forced horror that I didn't enjoy it at all. The voice over that was supposed to be scary was not at all. So that's got to go. Creepy Road. It's a small little game. I like the style of it, and I thought it was a good idea. It's like an indie game, but just the the combat just wasn't what I liked. Like, it's an old school 2D type of, like, 16-bit looking, well, a little bit better than 16-bit, but that type of game, shooting zombies, the boss battles. The boss battles were cool, but everything else about the game was, like, really forgettable. But it was so short, I just kept pushing on. Conan Exiles, bro. Don't even put that on your system. I hated that game.
I've been tempted a couple of times. That's
No.
like the Minecraft Conan Minecraft, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's no. Imagine just being stuck in a poison pool in Minecraft. That's what that game is to me. I'm out. See ya. My brother recommended to me old time hockey, which in a way I can see his passion because we played into '94 together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this was, an upgraded version of that. That was just pathetic. Could not stand it. Zombie Vikings. Again, I saw Vikings in the cover. I bought it. The gameplay was just. It was the same people who
For
made.
such an educated man, you make some very interesting buying decisions.
Yeah, this Zombie Vikings, the same people that make Stick It to the Man. So like that kind of humor. I thought, okay, cool. And a little, beat 'em up. Oh boy, that's got to go. Near Automata, there is a store in the game that if you have enough points, you could buy the trophies. I hated this game so much that I just kept farming for money, and I just bought every single trophy from the in-game store. Imagine that. In-game currency can buy you an actual trophy. That's what I did there. See ya. Okay. What else?
Near Automata, though, people do rave about that game. And
I didn't like it at all.
How many times did you finish it?
Oh, that's it. Well, you had to beat the story 4 times, regardless.
Yeah.
But once I finished the story, I went to the store, bought everything. But I pushed on.
Do they drop anyway, or do you have to grind to buy the trophies, and that's how it works? Is that not just an interesting look inside yourself? Like, you can play this game and enjoy it, and if you really are that weird, you can use the in-game currency to buy the trophies, but what does that tell you about you?
Told me I had enough of the game, but I wanted to finish it.
Yeah, but you finished it, but you didn't need to buy the trophies. You could have just put it down.
No, I finished it, but at that point, at 68%, I wasn't going to do half the stuff because I wasn't interested in the combat.
So the trophies drop naturally as well as unlocking them through playing the game?
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, but I had enough of that game. The Order, 1886.
Don't you dare.
I thought it was, bro, it looked great. The story was so awesome. I like the style of it. I'm like, this is going to be great. And, oh, man, I really had to push through that game. That game was not good at all. And I can see why they're not getting a sequel. There's no arguments there.
If they had that same level of graphic, yet on PS5 they could do... Because, at the end of the game, you stand up on the rooftops of London and it's almost like, all right, now is this going to be the game where I can go anywhere and do anything? And it's like, no, it's just a cutscene.
Yeah. That made me so mad. Because there was so much potential.
That's why I think it deserves a sequel. That's why I think it deserves a sequel.
If it did, don't get me wrong, I would really like a sequel if they actually, made a game of it. That'd have been, ideal. And I think the last one I'm going to mention is Sly Cooper, Thieves in Time.
Is that modern remake? It's not a remake. It's like the new version.
He goes. It's like the newer of the game.
It's almost like Sly 4, isn't it?
It is Sly 4, basically. Yeah, that was not good. And people are gonna get mad at me, but I didn't like any of the Jax and Daxter games. But I pushed on.
You played them all, even though you didn't like them.
Yep, because I bought it, and when I buy something, I don't waste the money.
Did you buy the remaster on the PS3?
Yep.
All right, because
I'm like, I'm not going to waste money, and the return value was nothing, so I said, let me push on. And actually, Resident Evil 5 wasn't that bad. It was still bad, but not that bad. Resident Evil 6, though, that really broke my heart. But I really wanted to finish that game, and that's really all I had. Vampire is definitely the newest game, and that makes me so mad too because the potential. I think if you have potential and you drop the ball, it makes me more upset as a gamer. Like, why did you do this?
I've got something that's going to wind you up. Every week we ask for comments, and we put a post up on Twitter and Instagram, or you could email us, whichever, and you put your comments on there. The best comment every month, which Bobby will pick out of his brain, whichever one's made him go, interesting the most, you win a prize. So you just need to lob one comment in a month and you qualify. But the more you comment, the more chances you've got. Well, and the more sort of interesting your comment is, the more likely it's going to be incorporated into the show, and the more likely it is going to be to get read out on air. Now, someone who obviously likes poking the bear, Mr. Graham C. over on Instagram, a now regular contributor, said, Mad Max on the PS4, just endless boring missions and some old fetch quests. I like driving games, don't get me wrong, but this game took the biscuit. I don't know why I bothered. Restarting it again on my newer account, FML, which is Feel My Loins. So he obviously wants you to just check he's still got some feeling in his in his gentleman area.
Yeah.
That's a game that I know that you carry a soft spot for, and it's a game that I think this year I finished it, came to it, and I thought graphically it still held up. I thought that the main story missions were interesting. I did think some of the exploration to find parts and other bits was a bit boring, a bit mind-numbing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I enjoyed the game. And when it finally wrapped up, like really when you go to Gastown for that race, you're basically then trapped in what I would call the end game loop.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're going to end up on the road taking on the final boss in the cutscene. I mean, the ending was a little bit weird, I have to admit. It was a bit like cutscene. It was a fight, but it wasn't a fight. I mean, most of the boss battling got done in that final fisticuff section where you're walking through like the interior of the place trying to escape in a way, didn't it? That was the challenge when you actually got out on the road and had to sort of ram the thing a couple of times and then run someone over. It was a cutscene, but it wasn't a cutscene. I don't want to ruin it too much for people who haven't played it.
Yeah.
It did kind of leave a bit of a strange taste in the mouth because all of its component parts really meant to me more than the actual end game did. But I thought it was a good game. If I had to slap a number on Mad Max, it would probably be a loose 6 or 7. Maybe you'd give it more because you've obviously a big fan of the franchise.
Yeah, I think this game was definitely, if you're not a fan of Mad Max, then I could see it being a 6. Because it was fun, but...
Listen, I like Mad Max.
Yeah.
I don't like Fury Road because I think Mel Gibson should have been in it. But I like Mad Max. I like the lore. I had the videos recorded off TV as a youngster. 2 and 3 was always my favourite, but...
My father recorded the original Mad Max before it was dubbed in American accents for some odd reason on VHS. That's how much I love Mad Max. I love the lore, everything about it. I think Tom Hardy did a good job.
But I still don't think... I think this game, as a Mad Max fan, I think this game could have been better in places. Could have been tighter.
Yeah, I gave it a solid 7.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
I think that's very fair. And to be fair, 7's not a bad game. Like 10's a masterpiece. 9 is,
I think if you're in the 7, 8, 9 area, then that's definitely playable.
It would have been cooler because it was a massive world. But it would have been cooler if there'd been more sort of weird Mad Maxy 3 stuff in it, or Mad Max 2. And it evolved more. Like it just was boiled down to its most component parts. Imagine if you could stumble across a settlement and they needed help, and you could get them help, and then you became more of their team. Like you came across these different settlements that they were like, go here and do this formulaic mission that you've done at the other base 3 times. Go here and do this formulaic mission that you've done at this place 6 times. Go here and do this formulaic mission that you've done 10 times here. If it more evolved as the story went, where you had to do something that was absolutely pivotal, like you needed XYZ piece of technology, not just 6 or 7 boxes of scrap that then became said thing.
Yeah.
Or you had to escort a tanker from that base to another base, they would have been the missions that would have made me go, wow, this is actually something special in the Mad Max.
I agree.
I think this is good. Again, it's one of those times where I've designed a game
that I would love to play.
That you would love to
play.
Every
week, it seems to me, bro, just listen, be a game designer and stop it.
Thing is, I can come up with these good ideas swinging around on my chair, but I've absolutely no idea how to make them happen.
But you don't have to. All you have to do is get the idea and you get a designer. That's all you have to do.
We're listened to by a cast of thousands all over the world. One of them must be a game.
That's all you have to do, bro. Implement your ideas in this guy's mind.
Give me a call. Email me at questions@unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com for my repertoire of ideas. Who's next?
We got C. Pliskin. He said, believe it or not, I don't think I have an answer for this. I don't usually rage quit unless it's a really bad game, which rarely happens to me. But if there's a game that I usually don't like, I just stop playing it and just say, no, that's not for me. There's no point getting angry over a game you didn't particularly like. Unlike, say, the most of negative reviews for Death Stranding on YouTube that only talk about the first 2-3 hours of the game. A bit of a tangent, I know, but I hope that makes my opinion on games I don't like clear enough compared to those who bash the game that haven't left time to simmer properly.
Yeah, he's got a point there, hasn't he? I mean, Death Stranding, I've had numerous conversations on our Discord about this game, and I know it's not for everybody, and I like
that argument, though, right? Every game is not for everybody.
True. You might like Flappy Bird.
Exactly.
But you don't like a XYZ masterpiece. You don't like Zelda.
Very true.
But I thought Death Stranding... Now, I know a game probably shouldn't be so obtuse where you have to play maybe like 6 hours of it before it all clicks. But I think Hideo Kojima's very guilty of that. And Metal Gear Solid 4 took its time. Once I'd got into it, I was like, oh, yeah, I like this. It's probably one of the best ones I've played. It is what it is. Captain Cold, a very loyal and good supporter of us over on Instagram, says the only game that comes to mind is Crash Bandicoot. I don't totally hate the game, but it's just way too challenging and it can be very frustrating very fast. I'm currently on the 3rd game trying to complete it, but it's just a hassle. At least the first 2 are done. Smiling with sweat emoji. I enjoyed the Crash Team Racing more. Smiling with a party popper emoji.
You go, our Italian stallion, bro.
He's back, isn't he?
Retro gaming. Back with a force. He said...
No, do it.
Want me to do it?
Thing is, do we do his voice in the Italian voice every time now?
Yes, we do. I feel like you should do it since it's basically your voice. I cannot hear him. If he really ever spoke to us, I'd probably fall on the floor like that's a fake voice. Because it's so embedded in my mind of you.
Okay. All right. Well, if he finds us insulting in any way, he needs to message in. Or if any Italians sat there going, how disrespectful.
I love this guy, dude.
What, the guy that I've invented?
No, Bada Binks. This guy's great.
Okay. Man will have to be the Chester Express on the PS1. COVID ups and nuclear dawn for you and Americans out there. I was and still am a massive fan of Steven Seagal's. So this game reminded me of Under Siege, but it was so boring and repetitive gameplay was clunky. It was hard to move. I believe it's just a Resident Evil ripoff. So but was a decent game. Anyone else play it? Question.
I never heard of it.
Chase the Express on PS1.
Interesting.
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I can't comment. So Bada Binks to retro gaming. Earning is prefix or postfix, which is retro gaming. Bada Binks.
Oh, look, it's my friend Juan.
Oh, hang on a minute. Should I? Is it that Bada Binks that you love, or this one? Will have to be the Chester Express.
No, I like the other one. That's the Bada Binks.
The man will have to be the Chester Express.
That's a perfect, bro.
Okay.
That's perfect. This is who I called last week a young adult man who is a welder. First of all, he loved that comment. So from now on, he's just changed his name to young adult man. Okay?
Beautiful. One adult man.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful boy. Yeah, he has some cute looking kids too, let me tell you. So here we go. Ready?
What's GD30 CE12 mean? Is that like word number code for like? I can't
Listen,
even see what does that mean?
I don't know what it means. I'm gonna ask him. You know what probably happened? He's like, my name is Juan, and I want to be Juan on Instagram. And Instagram was like, nope, taken. Here's the suggestion, and then they just dropped that on him, and he just probably added a 12.
Okay.
You know,
Juan is a beautiful man.
he's a beautiful young adult man. Okay,
Young adult man.
so here we go. He goes, I'm gonna have to go with a few odd N64 titles. One called Gomon Mystical Ninja. Weird characters, weird story setting, as well as what's really going Japanese. I really think so, which is a song reference style game. And I
I think
agree.
I'm turning Japanese. I
yeah, I
really
think I'm
think
turning.
so.
Yeah, and
I'm
I,
turning
and I
Japanese. Oh,
I can
yes.
see that 100%. The other called Quest 64. This one just wild. You play as a apprentice magician, but at the time I always thought I was playing as a young pope or far.
Yes.
Regardless, beat both games. Not my best achievements, but yeah, that Gomon game. It was a game on the Legend of the Mystical Ninja.
Yeah.
It's based on this apparently a real life character.
Really?
Yeah, if you Google it, Gomon, it's a real life Japanese person who I think was like a martyr, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Okay. Well, thank you, Juan. It's a good comment. Up next is Mr. C. He says, I can't say I hated it, but Last of Us 2 was a traumatic experience at the end, and I didn't want to take part in the final fight. That's a solid point, that is. And Alien Isolation was too long and terrifying for me, but as I loved the films, I pushed myself on and had multiple heart attacks. I forgot that he had a sad sort of like tired out emoji for The Last of Us 2, and he had a scream emoji for Alien. Have you played Last of Us Part 2 yet, Bobby?
Nope.
Have you played Last of Us 1?
A little bit of my brother's PlayStation.
A man who likes horror, a man who likes survival, tactical, what's it called? Resource management games. A guy who likes the original Resis probably more than the refashioned ones. You would almost think. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, my fiery-haired friend, but it sounds like The Last of Us is like you're a PlayStation gamer. Naughty Dog, known for making a high caliber of an emotional storytelling experience, might tie that into a gameplay that's crushingly difficult at times, and therefore a platinum that's hard to earn, but gains the respect of the PlayStation community for having it sat up there on your digital trophy cabinet that's as worthless as a pile of points on every other platform, Steam or Xbox or whatever, but to you invest some value into. Why the hell have you not played Last of Us, or its, in my opinion, amazing sequel, Last of Us Part 2? What's wrong with you?
I have both of them. Just haven't played it yet. I don't know. I don't really feel it, I guess. Like when I feel it, I know I'll feel it and I'll put it in. But I've just been feeling everything else besides that, so.
So you own both games? Physical?
Yep. Haven't played it yet. I'll get to it though.
Your homework for this week is to start The Last of Us 1 on the most toughest difficulty there is.
Well, I don't think I can do the PS3 game.
Haven't you got Last of Us Remastered?
Yeah. No, I don't have. I have only had the original PS3 game. I don't think you can do. I think the online is shut down.
Oh, so now the truth comes out. So you've
There's
not played it for so long that you know you can't get the platinum, so you refuse to play it until you can get the PS4 version with some online. You're a sniveling rat. You know that.
I will still play it regardless.
I thought it was part of PS Plus at one point in time, Last of Us Remastered.
I don't know, bro. Maybe
so I think you've got it digital, and I don't believe there's an online section to that game, so get it done.
Yeah, there is. There is.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
to the remastered.
doesn't the last one have the online as well?
So you've spent The Last of Us Remastered. I don't think did have online, but to me, you've spent more time on PlayStationTrophies.net than you have actually putting the game in the console. You're going to
Probably.
get roasted today, Bobby. This is
That's fine.
unacceptable.
It happens.
Unacceptable.
It happens.
Have you played Alien Isolation?
Yeah, that was great.
I've had a couple of goes at it, but it never really clicked with me. I probably ought to double down on it. Next up, I said Leviosa. It's Leviosa, not Leviosa. There's a whole discussion about how it's Bob Aloba, not Boba Loba.
We'll just get Boba Loba.
I don't give a rat's ass what Robert says because his name's Boba Loba. God damn it. And if I was to ever meet him in the street, if everyone else around was calling him Bob Aloba, I'm Bob Aloba. I'm not being funny, but where I'm from, a lobon is a description of an engorged piece of flesh on your body. There's absolutely no way I'm going to call you Bob Aloba in public. It's Boba Loba.
I never knew that.
Just saying, if you've got a lob on, something very different going on.
He writes, nope. I have so many games on my profile that have one achievement unlocked, usually for completing an intro tutorial level. If a game doesn't sell itself in the first half hour or so, it's uninstalled.
He's not like you see. Mm-hmm. He's not like this was a steaming pile of dirt, but I put it in a machine and registered it to my name, and therefore it needs finishing, or else I wish I had sense
like that.
I'm a lesser standard of human being. Fair play to him. Life's too short, I suppose. Retro Gamer Thomas, I would have to say the second life is... How can I just read his comment out like that? Doesn't he need fanfare? RGT?
RGT?
I would have to say the second life is strange. I absolutely love the first game. Really powerful, awesome story. And with the added gameplay mechanic of rewinding time, which made the game, the second one, being a prequel before the main character's return, obviously took the mechanic away and just left with a fairly boring story walkthrough, which you already know pretty much what happens as you spoke about it in the first one. I still haven't finished it, but will do so. Disappointed. Looking sad emoji. What do you... you've played Life is Strange, no doubt.
Yeah, Life is Strange 2 wasn't as good as the first one or the prequel.
Prequels are always a bit difficult, aren't they? Like Red Dead 2 was a prequel, but you were playing as a character that you didn't know about, and therefore you had to find out his story. If it's a prequel that
Life is Strange 2 is a different part, totally not really connected to the original game.
Right.
But just wasn't as good.
Okay.
I really enjoyed the first one and the prequel to that story, but this one was like,
Yeah.
Next, we got what is it? Ectological.
He could be 100%. If you put someone in the boot, he's joined the Discord. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. He's on the show. If he put someone in the boot and convinced someone to listen, he would be the recipient of a cassette.
Yeah. He wrote, recently Gem Smashers for the Platinum. It may be one of the worst games I ever played in a long, long time. It was such a slog. The hitboxes didn't work half the time and trophies were misworded or glitched. Another one recently, again for Platinum, was Adam's Venture Origins. Horrendous VO. Clunky character movements, frame drips into single digits, clipping, broken stealth sections, etc. I stopped playing the game for a couple of weeks after that one. I stopped playing games for a couple of weeks after that one.
Ectological, absolutely.
That's hard, bro.
Poisoned. Got the well poisoned.
Oh.
Is this a new listener?
I think so, because it's one of my people.
One of your people?
Yeah. Yeah, we found each other for a long time.
Well, we know that obviously you were recruited to the show because you're famous out there in the podcast. And when you got your own show, Bobby's World Podcast, that's where they can find you when you're not pinned down recording this mediocre pile of tat. You're off doing your own New York podcast, the celebrity that you are. And Sawtham Collector is part of your fan base.
I think he's a new listener. Well, let's do it.
I didn't realise. So let's... if you see any others that are new listeners that I've missed, you let me know. So this is a
New listener.
Do I do it?
Sure, why not?
He's not heard my voice before, has he? So
no, go for it.
Well, he has, because he's already got to this point. So, and I'm sure I've waffled a hell of a couple of wheelbarrows full of nonsense at this point, Bobby. But we'll serve him another stinking pile of my VO. Mine are both on NES, but I have to go with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Metroid. Dr. Jekyll is famous for how garbage it is, but I had it as a kid and just had to complete it at some point. So did it recently. Mm-hmm. It's awful. Metroid on NES is super boring with no direction, and the payoff for playing all the way through that game is such a letdown. One thing I noticed while I was reading that out, I think you got a phone call from El Buccio from Zutamax. Was he saying, hurry up, I don't really pay for enough bandwidth for you to have a 6-hour show?
Utterly so slightly.
Up next, a man with more neck scarves.
The Duke.
He is. Well,
he's part of the royal. He's part of the royal.
The Three Musketeers.
100%.
Johan artwork. He says the first prototype game. It's a game I raged so often for being broken and unfair at points, yet somehow I just had to finish it. He's got such a great accent as well. I wish he could be here to read this out.
So I can get everything
out of my system. We should just give up, sign the show over to him, and he should just read it. Him and
you know how people want Samuel Jackson to read things?
Yes.
No.
I
want Johan, bro.
I never have that sense of incompleteness. I had a similar feeling recently with the game Vampus, where he's a man cut from your cloth. He has some great moments and theming, but was so bored and even angry with every fight, where it's the same bad guys or always being that little overpowered. Yet I finished it and just felt a sense of disappointment rather than hatred. He laughs. He would have laughed much better than that.
He knows what's up.
Yeah,
he has a very elegant laugh, I can imagine. Well, you heard it, so I just can't.
I wonder what other than being an internet celebrity with the Prince Harvey Retro. I wonder what Johan does for a day job. I like to think that he's in the arts or crafts, or he's like a filmmaker or something like that, or
now that you put that in there,
have you ever seen Quadrophenia, where Sting is like this hailed character? You know, Sting the singer. He's in Quadrophenia, and he's like when he's not, he's got a day job where he's like a bellboy or something at a hotel, and obviously when everyone else finds that out, he loses some of his. I would hate to think, in my mind, Johan has got some really obscure art industry based job. Yeah, if I was wherever Johan's from, I don't know, the UK, if I walked into the local Aldi and he was passing me my discounted chicken thighs as he scanned them in the counter, it'd be one of those moments. So I don't want to know any more about Johan, because it would destroy the mythos of the Three Musketeers. Nowhere near Berlin, Johan artwork and Harvey Retro. I never want to know.
No, it's kind of like the bad guy in a movie, right? I don't care about why he's bad. I just want him to be bad. And I want these guys to be absolute legends.
And never allude to doing... They don't work, for God's sake.
They don't have to.
They just wake up and
I would love
money.
If I can go visit him and he actually has just obscure art. I would die.
He's an art dealer.
Amazing. Up next, we got our little Scottish brethren.
Well, before we get carried away, the man, the myth, the legend, the supplier of the monthly prize. If your comment is deemed good enough, you could win a prize. You've got 20 minutes to get this show done, wrapped up. Sal Buccio's going to turn the electric off to the apartment. But before we get distracted, Comic Pictures, what's he got to say for himself?
He says, second week in a row, I mentioned Dark Souls 2. Not that it's bad per se. It requires a whole second half and a third playthrough just to get 3 spells to complete the achievements.
My God.
It's very annoying. There haven't been many occasions I can think of where I was excited to uninstall a game, but this was a great moment. To know I'll never play it again. Bliss. Also, this may be controversial, but Wind Waker, I forced myself to complete it. but I bloody hate that game, and pretty much every Zelda game after Ocarina of Time. But it's just an opinion, so there's no need for anyone to get their panties all bunched up about it.
Okay.
I agree with Dark Souls 2.
Everyone's allowed an opinion, Adam. Absolutely. If it ain't for you, if they're not for you, they're not for you. Wind
Next.
Waker.
Never played it, so I don't know.
I just never vibed with it, to be fair. Up next, the man I like to imagine's wrapped in cellophane. He's never even unwrapped himself. He's factory fresh. It's our Elliot
He has
Hughes.
the couch with the plastic cover.
Yes, he does. And the carpet.
Yeah.
Everything's just wrapped in cling
and
film.
everything is it's scotch guarded for sure.
Yeah, 6 times and then wrapped.
Mm-hmm. He writes, only ones I can think of are a few Call of Duties. Big fan of Call of Duties, but just found a fair few after BO3 Born. Not that I didn't like them, just struggled to get through.
Well, that'd be Black Ops, wouldn't it?
Oh, okay.
Took me a moment, but that's what he's on about.
Yeah.
This guy is like a Welsh Vin Diesel, because Bryn's a Welsh name.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's like, I'm not even going to do the injustice of trying to do one of our Celtic brethren's accents, but he's a new listener. Bryn Diesel _ TBI says Duke Nukem Forever, biggest letdown of my life video game wise, but I had to finish it. Mary Goglia. Now, I've seen her around about on the Instagram for a while, but I think she's a new listener, so let's clap it out. She's a
new listener. She writes, I fell out of interest with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl when I was a teen. I bought Platinum years later, getting back into Pokemon more, and I was still a bit of a pain to go through for me. Even traded some of my Pokemon from Diamond Pearl to get through the main part of the game faster.
Okay. Well, thank you for reaching out, Mary. If you're listening now, Mary's maybe the person that I said last week, you've listened every week, but you've never joined in. Join in, and she did. Mm-hmm. If you're another one of those people that listens every week that's never commented, please do. Thank you for your comment, Mary. I can't really speak with much. I like what you've done, but I can't really speak with much knowledge about the Pokemon games.
Me neither.
I've never seen one through to completion, I don't think. I've played, I think, Blue through about 3/4, so... Here's a man that's probably finished Pokemon 6 times one afternoon on a Game Boy while riding his BMX. But nowadays he walks around New York in a loincloth, shilling for change. It's Finster Gamer. Generally, I wonder what he thinks of this new character we foisted upon him. He says, generally, I deliberate. He's not said yet, has he, about the loincloth? Someone threatened to send me pictures of it, but I don't want to... I've seen it in the flesh. Generally, I deliberate a lot before starting games to avoid this. However, one game in particular caught me out with this. I read glowing positive reviews of Deliver Us the Moon and decided to give it a try. It was the most god-awful thing I've ever played, with terrible gameplay mechanics, motion capture, story, etc. So much so that I immediately knew I was going to write a review questioning its high rating. I felt compelled to force myself to finish, as I knew I was going to tear it a new one on the review, and couldn't legitimately complain about it if I hadn't given it more of a chance. It got its chance. I'll never get that time back. Because we have to remember that Finster Game has got a website of reviews, information, knowledge, and more called Downright Square.
Well, whatever you guys call it, .uk, I don't know what it is.
I always call it Downright Circle Square. I don't know why, because I think when we first spoke, you bounced a couple of names off me, but Downright Square, I think, is what it is. So forgive me. That'd be like him telling someone, I know about this podcast. Yeah, I think it's called the Official Controller Podcast. The Official Controller. Mm-hmm. Yeah, something like that. So apologies, Finster Gamer. I know I'm subscum. Blockbuster Guy says, I see that Headhunter. Maybe that's him suggesting, because the post this week had a picture of Headhunter in it, which is a game I found obtuse. Stuck with, so maybe that's what he's referring to. If not, I've no idea. Over on Twitter, our whole host of new listeners again, Bobby, so get your clapping gear out. Steve Houdini, aka @Stevie Houdini, he's a new listener. Are you losing the edge with the new listeners, or are they still? Is it still like taking a shot of neat brandy every time for you?
I think it's great.
Okay, Another World. F that game.
I could see that, especially if you played it now for the first time.
Oh God! I mean, back in the day, you kind of were
amazing.
so wowed by the graphics and everything that you
Now-
persevered with it.
You're like, okay, if I can't jump over this one more time, I'm done.
Do you know what I hate when you know at the very beginning of the game there's those black slugs, and if
Mhm.
you don't get the jump right, you have to watch that cut scene of it rearing backwards and then that white tooth flicking
Mhm.
out, and it's like as soon as I see it rear backwards, I'm like, oh man, I thought I'd timed this right.
Yeah.
And then you have to, and then when the tooth flicks out, a part of my soul dies. It's
You're
like,
done. You done did it. It's horrible. It's very, very dramatic.
And when you're on a run through as well, it's like to get whacked at that early part of the game. It's like, oh no, oh
Yep.
God. But it's totally possible. I don't care if you're a pro at that game or not. That could happen to anyone.
Mhm.
Who we got next?
It appears to see one game at a time, and he is a new listener.
Do you know who hasn't been on this week?
Who?
The guy who'll take all your sisters, Johnny Island Gaming.
Yeah, he hasn't. Interesting.
If he's listening, I hope he's okay. I know he took his bike for an MOT at what looked like the Nürburgring, so don't ask
He
questions.
writes, yeah, China Warrior on PC Mini Engine. I played it to see how bad it was made. I played it to see how bad it was and made myself play through the whole thing out of some misplaced need to prove it to myself that I am the best. All it yielded was low self-esteem. Amazing. That's amazing.
That's beautiful. We've got another new listener with an awesome name. He's a new listener. Captain Frugal, a.k.a. @Captain Frugal, no space. I beat Superman 64. The rings and bugs nearly ended me. I didn't think it was possible to finish that game. He said it was a gift from my wife. Looking back, I often wonder if she was trying to kill me. I think the simple answer to that is probably yes.
Yes.
That's what we would call the end of the feature. Another absolutely brilliant journey down the road of us getting to know you, getting to know them, getting to know each other better, Bobby. It's been nearly a month of us all getting to know each other. Next week, I don't want to be lobbing any spoilers or signing us up to things that we can't achieve, but next week, Bobby, it's Halloween. So it's the inevitable Halloween special 02. I don't know what happened to my voice during that moment there, but it went a little bit strange. Wait. King Lizard. He's late because he's only commented 46 minutes ago, but he says, and we're already into the show at that point. I find it hard to hard a game, but can only think of around 2 or 3 that might fit the bill, but I traded their asses rather than waste valuable gaming time. In terms of mediocre, I'd have to say Super Destronaut, Land Wars on Xbox One, and Full Blast were as dull as dishwater, but they were easy G. So I plodded on, pinned them down twice in Full Blast case on Xbox One and PS4. Do we do hashtag Stingrays boot this week, or shall we just move straight to the real deal? Because I think it's been a long show.
Yeah, maybe it's the real deal.
Okay. What's he been up to this week?
Stingray?
Yeah.
You didn't see what we did last week? You didn't see what we did just Wednesday? This guy is opening up manhole covers.
What? Okay. All right.
He has a gold crowbar and just has been opening up manhole covers, going in them, and coming out somewhere else like he's playing Super Mario in real life.
Oh my God. Okay, that might be one of the best things he's been up to that week. It's time for a picture. Slow down. Do you know what? Less haste, more speed. It's time for a peek in what we affectionately call Stingrays Boot, what's nestled between some counterfeit nappies and a dodgy copy of Battlefriend All this week. These are the new release highlights for the week, October 19th to... I've written the date wrong, so I'm sub-scum. To October 25th. 2020 listeners, these are out in digital, physical, or will be by the time this podcast in your feed, but could be region dependent. Have you picked a mummy out of this pile of tat?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I have as well. First up, Amnesia Rebirth, PC, PS4, October 20th. Amnesia Rebirth, a new descent into darkness from the creators of the iconic Amnesia series, a harrowing journey through desolation and despair, exploring the limits of human resilience.
That was
October 20th. That was yours, was it?
Yep.
Well, apologies.
Okay.
What's next?
We got Drone Swarm for the PC, October 20. Control a swarm of 32,000 drones in a strategy adventure set in space. Jump from another system to a system and battle powerful alien fleets. Destroy enemy vessels, slam them into one another, block attacks, and outsmart defenses.
Next out of the boot, The Guise on PC, October 20th. The Guise is a dark Metroidvania fairy tale about a boy trapped in the body of a monster. Can you hold on to his humanity? It's up to you.
Next, we got Solista, Crown of Majester. Say that kind of fast. For PC, October 20th. Roll for initiative, take attacks of opportunity, manage player location, and the vertical of the battlefield in this upcoming turn-based tactical RPG based on the SRD 5.1 rule set. In Solista, you make the choices. Dice decide your destiny.
Beyond the Wire on PC, October 21st. A tense multiplayer FPS set in the muddy, bloody trenches of World War I. In battles of up to 50v50, players will be immersed in cinematic environments that convey the desperate and brutal circumstances of the Great War. Features an authentic arsenal and unique melee combat system. That sounds pretty good, but it's not my mummy. In fact, maybe that is my mummy. It's just a shame that it's multiplayer, because I feel that probably detracts from the immersion slightly, but there you go. Up next,
Love. A puzzle box filled with stories. Now that's an interesting title. Okay, think about that. PC, October 21st. Every life has a story. Every story has regret. But what if you could change the past? Love is a puzzle game about finding the things we've lost in ourselves and the people who help us find them.
Tenderfoot Tactics on PC, October 21st. A party of goblins granted magic by an ancient spirit wander the archipelago, fighting back the terrible fog, wield elemental power with wild repercussions in the open world tactics RPG.
Up next, we got Disc Room for PC and Switch, October 22nd. Are you ready to get sliced in half? The year is 2089, and a giant disc has appeared in orbit of Jupiter. Step into the oversized spacesuit of a brave scientist and explore the sprawling intergalactic slaughterhouse.
I mean, really?
It's wild.
Double Pug Switch, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, October 22nd. Double Pug Switch on the Switch. I mean, if you can't see the humor in that, you're not even finding anything funny. Double Pug Switch is a tough side-scrolling platformer. You take control of a pug who can switch dimensions due to a catastrophe in a lab. Run, jump, power up, and cry your way through several levels of doggy dimension goodness.
Up next, we got Dwarfheim for PC, October 22nd. Dwarfheim is the next generation of co-op RTS games, a unique RTS with co-op PvP and PvE game modes. Choose your class, gather resources, build and defend your dwarven city.
That could be good. Hello Puppets on PC VR, October 22nd. Go on a horror comedy adventure that turns your hand into a living, talking puppet named Scout. Years ago, a bad Sesame Street knockoff called Mortimer's Handymen was cancelled and forgotten, but the puppets from the show have come to life. They're pure evil.
Okay. Up next, we got Outbreak Epidemic for the Switch, October 22nd. Return to the world of four-player co-op survival horror with classic gameplay, strict inventory management, crushing enemies, horrific difficulty, and more as you grow up, as you and a group of survivors try to survive the epidemic.
Red Lantern for PC, Xbox One, and Switch, October 22nd. The true rebirth of iconic beat-em-up genre in the vein of old-school video games. As a simple Chinese fisherman, I sometimes wonder if I'm reading these right. As a simple Chinese fisherman, Wei Chang, you have to avenge the death of your friends and family slaughtered in a pirate raid at your peaceful village. That sounds like a PCU, that does.
Mm-hmm. Up next, we got Galicide,
Yeah.
PS4, Xbox One, Switch, October 23rd. Command destructive spaceships to obliterate hordes of enemy vessels while quickly solving puzzles to weave through networks of vibrantly colorful adversarial machines.
Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams, Dry Twice on the PC in October 23rd. No obstacle will keep me away from my beloved, my faith. Not even the wild and untamed islands of Kalula. Those lovely island ladies can only distract me for so long as my heart's compass only points in one direction. Faith.
Facts. Up next, we got Supermarket Shrek.
Shriek.
Shriek. Sorry, I read that as Shrek. I'm so used to seeing that as Shrek. We got PC, PS4, and Switch October 23rd. Join man and goat in this chaotic, award-winning couch co-op adventure. Tackle outlandish obstacle courses, complete rewarding challenges, and dodge deadly obstacles in a hectic race to the checkout. Packed with frantic 38-stage campaign and 3 hilariously PvP party moves.
Words fail me. Transformer Battlegrounds, PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, October 23rd. Bumblebee and the Autobots have a new commander. You. Assemble your squad and roll out for the battle against the Decepticons and team up in local multiplayer. Slam the boot down, Bobby, because Stingray's got some manhole covers to hop in with his gilded crowbar. Those that paid attention at the top of the show and they waded through our opinion on the news, which, to be frank, took quite some time. You took some rousing this morning. No doubt you've got slipped a couple of Mickeys last night when you were in the bar. But Odders has only got to grip his wheel for a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably already got where he's going, has been parked on someone's drive for damn near 2 hours, but he can't stop until the show's done. Bobby, what are you hoping to play?
Pretty much the same. Rogue Company, Zombie Army Trilogy, and I'm going to finish Vampire.
Vampire.
Imagine
it's being said by Bada Bing sto retro game. Vampire.
So, what are you going to play?
I'm going to play some more Catherine. I'm determined to finish GTA 4. Although I am thoroughly not enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah.
Maybe go back to Witcher. But I think that, I don't know why, but PS3 is my poison at the moment. I just can't stop using that console. So I'm probably going to find something on there. I was tempted to slap Infamous 2 in the machine.
I could recommend some titles for you.
I need to own them, though. That's the precursor.
Yeah. Well, you never know. Maybe you have it, or you can get it.
Yeah, games are not. What I like about the PS3 is the games are £1.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some, like Catherine, like that is just for the first 15 minutes of intro and little preamble alone, that's worth £1 because it's that nice to look at. It's a beautiful experience. That's kind of that. So,
we got to do the VHS, bro.
Oh, Bob.
Then we can go.
Okay, all right. My VHS is gonna be Fort Apache starring John Wayne, part of the She Wore a Yellow Ribbon trilogy.
Awesome. I'm going to pick A Nightmare on Elm Street.
You've gone early.
I love that movie.
It's not aged very well, though, has it?
I think it's great, dude. And not the remake, bro. The original. Don't even talk about the remake.
The original, the first time I saw it, it was way after the time because I'm not really into horror that much. But I thought, do you know what? I'll watch this. And I watched it and was not even remotely scared. I've always been sort of slightly intrigued by the Freddy character, but I was like not too fussed about it, but I was completely out when the deflated sex doll gets pulled through the front door at the end of the movie. At that point, I was like, you've lost me here, Wes.
You gotta watch it for a classic. That's what it is.
This just looks terrible. It really does.
It does.
I think by the time you get to 2 and 3, the standards have reached the expectation of the cinema goer, and it's actually, it still holds up.
Mm-hmm.
But that first one, my God, no.
Love it.
Fair play to you.
All right.
Is that it?
That's it.
Well, that's all we have time for this week, listeners. As always, thank you for your time, and we look forward to the pleasure of speaking to you again next week. Until then, happy gaming. Remember, there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. It's what you do with it that counts. See you, Bobby.
Peace out.